Stitch versus Rocket Raccoon. This is a fantastic idea that I have been very excited for since finding out that they were going to do it. So, Rocket is probably my favorite MCU character. I haven't watched the third Guardians movie yet, unfortunately, which I know delves into his story. So I'll probably be spoiled by this a little bit, but it's fine. It's fine. I'll get around to watching it eventually. But I'm not very familiar with any of his stuff from the comics. So I'm not familiar with what all other feats he might have. I'm just pretty familiar with the version seen in the movies, where he's kind of a jackass, but he's also pretty intelligent, especially in way of machines. And he's pretty scrappy in a fight. That's kind of all I know in way of his actual power set. Stitch, on the other hand, as a child, I insisted people call me Stitch. Lilo and Stitch was my favorite thing. Okay, it goes, Lilo and Stitch was my first favorite show. Then it was Ben 10. Then it was Doctor Who. And then, to present, Ruby. So this had a hold on me for several years. I'm pretty well versed in way of Stitch's power set. Able to lift 3,000 times his own weight. He's smarter than a supercomputer. He's insanely durable thanks to his high density, which is also one of his weaknesses, because he sinks in water, which is probably his main weakness. I don't really... The indestructibility thing is more that it's very difficult to kill him, more than it is he's impervious to things, because he's been taken out by fire, he's been taken out by electricity, but he can't really be killed, per se, which... I mean, he probably could be if you did the right thing to be able to kill him, like, I don't know, molecular destabilizer or something. Rocket might be able to pull that from somewhere. But also the ability to grow his additional arms and the sphere form thing that he does, kind of like Cannonbolt. Pretty well versed in way of Stitch. He's got his blasters as well. I assume they're going to include the blasters. And also, I don't know if this was just a one-off or if this was actually something that he could do. I don't remember him actually doing this. But in Stitch the movie, Lilo does say... she does have this like offhand comment about Stitch spitting acid. But I can't remember if he's ever actually used his spit as acid or if it was just a joke to scare off Myrtle and her friends. I don't remember. I'm very excited for this. These are two characters that I love, and one that is deep-rooted in my soul from childhood. I am very excited about this matchup, and kind of like the previous death battle that I reacted to, Dovahkiin versus Chosen Undead, I'll be fine with whatever the winner is so long as it makes sense. I don't really have a bias here. The other one I kind of had a bias, but I felt like once I learned about the Chosen Undead, it would have made sense either way. Here, I think it could make sense either way. And I love both characters, so I don't have a bias going into this. So let's go ahead and get into it.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp and Mint Mobile.
Good for you. I'm not sponsored.
Stitch, Disney's Extraordinary Experiment 626.
Rocket, Marvel's murderous mercenary mustelid. Those are like weasels and ferrets and raccoons. You know, because he's a...
Just because you're cute and fluffy doesn't mean you aren't the deadliest thing in the universe.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
I told you he'd have his blasters. I told you.
In the distant reaches of outer space, the mad scientist Jumba Jukiba was accused of illegal genetic experimentation.
He took the galaxy's most fearsome, most dangerous, most absolutely purely black-hearted evil creatures and smushed them all together.
A great man with a vision, persecuted by spineless know-nothing bureaucrats.
The result? Experiment 626, though you can just call him Stitch.
He did not!
I think I'm gonna be sick. Oh, so naughty. After being slated for termination.
Experiment number 626. Height 3 foot. Age 18. I'm not sure where that comes from. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying I don't know where that comes from. Made of the galaxy's fiercest creatures, knows molecular physics, former captain of the Galactic Armada, crossed over with Kim Possible, Jake Long, proud family in recess, likes coconut cake and coffee. I forgot about coconut cake and coffee. I was thinking about that 2 seconds before I started recording, that his chaotic personality gets amplified by coconut cake and coffee. Yeah, there's the Disney Channel extended universe. All because of Lilo and Stitch. Have they done Kim Possible? I think that there's a Danny Phantom versus Jake Long one, but I don't think they've done Kim Possible yet.
Stitch escapes to a distant planet, Earth. Oh wait, Earth.
Crash landing in the Hawaiian island of Kauai of all places. There he'd be adopted by the Earth girl Lilo and went incognito as the ugliest dog ever.
And despite his horrific upbringing, Stitch...
Okay, maybe by dog standards, but Stitch is adorable. What are you talking about?
found he had a softer side, a love of Elvis, and a kinship with Lilo, a devil child who didn't fit in, just like him. It wasn't long before Stitch was ready to do anything to protect his new Ohana from the alien threats coming to get him.
And let me tell you, as a fellow mad scientist, Jumbo really outdid himself here. I've been meaning to dig deeper into Stitch's piecemeal alien biology for years. First of all, his fluffy exterior is entirely bulletproof, fireproof, and nearly impenetrable.
Though this comes with a catch. His molecular structure is so dense, he can't swim. Sucks he landed in Hawaii of all places.
Stitch can crawl on walls.
Oh, here we have a few more that I forgot about. I forgot about all his different visions. That's right. I forgot all about his different visions. Oh, yeah, wall crawling, super hearing, super spit, not acid spit, super spit. I feel like there's at least one time in the series where he's had his fur burned off. He survived, which means that he is, at least as far as his body is concerned, fireproof. But I feel like his fur isn't. I may be wrong. And I'm like dead set that there's at least one time where his fur has been burned off. Maybe I'm thinking Clip. Maybe I'm thinking of where Clip cut all of his hair off. Because that's what she did. That's what Clip was all about, was taking people's hair and then eating it and then becoming a giant fur ball herself. Maybe I'm just thinking about Clip.
Hear a whisper from miles away and scream so loud he'll blow you to kingdom come.
He's strong enough to lift 3,000 times his own body weight and can spin dash so fast he'll burst into flames.
His eyesight is also incredible. He's got night, x-ray, and infrared vision, and can even zoom in hundreds of times over.
Even better, he can hawk loogies like a friggin' machine gun. His spit is conductive enough to short-circuit electronics, stick objects together like glue, and even dissolve solid rock. Oh, and he's somehow a genius, too.
Okay, so, yeah, acid. But also adhesive. Kind of like Spitter. Supposedly.
The dude knows molecular physics and can build entire mech suits and spaceships out of junk in seconds.
You wouldn't think it from his everything, but Stitch is a genius with a brain comparable to a supercomputer. The world's most powerful supercomputer right now is Hewlett-Packard's Frontier, which can make 1 quintillion calculations a second.
Comparing Stitch to Frontier is frankly a massive lowball.
See, Stitch was programmed to have Jumba's own intelligence.
Jumba states his intelligence is larger than some galaxies in the Season 2 episode of the Lilo and Stitch TV series, Spike Experiment 319. Yeah, I remember this. So Spike's power is... the spikes on his body, when they hit a target, it causes their intelligence to drop, and they're just acting incredibly goofy for, like, the next few hours, I think. Maybe days. Because I think Stitch was out of commission the rest of the episode after being spiked. But Jumba got spiked. And I think it brings the intelligence down to about 1%. Just to 1% of whatever it was originally. Or 2%, something like that. And Jumba's like, oh yeah, well that percentage of my brain is enough for me to just keep going.
And Jumba's IQ has been compared to that of an entire galaxy combined.
I have conducted my own genetic analysis to determine Stitch's alien progenitors. His DNA includes traces of the manglioid of Meridian 4, the goo goblin booger beast, the people-eating pus monkey, the deadly disemboweler, the boiling tongueoid, and the bottom-feeding scum sucker.
It sounds like your ex-wife. Am I right?
No, Wiz, what the hell? That's such a messed up thing to say about her. Be better.
I'm so disappointed in you.
You can make those jokes when you start paying the alimony.
Well, Stitch's incredible buffet of alien DNA is supported by a power cell embedded in his body, fueled by the energy of 2 colliding planets. Huh? Colliding planets! Are you coming back? No?
F you!
Okay.
He's got a jetpack, freeze ray,
Valid response, I suppose. Plasma blaster with different ammo types. Plasma, glue, laser, rocket, net, grapple, anti-heat foam. Jetpack, freeze ray, grenades. Seismotronic 200, laser shield, underwater. So we're getting into stuff that I'm not familiar with because I've never played any of the video games. Not unless we're counting flash games, in which case Sandwich Stacker. Yeah. Actually, my main was Jumba's Lab because I like whenever a franchise has a gimmick and then there's an online game where you can make your own. Lilo and Stitch did that with Jumba's Lab. Ben 10 did that with Hero Matrix. There's never been one for Pokemon, and it annoys me to no end. Not that I can find, anyway. I found numerous Pokemon card creators. Nothing where you can make your own Pokemon out of a preset amount of body parts that are just in the game. Haven't found one for Pokemon yet. It annoys me.
grenades, and a Seismotronic 200, which can make sandwiches gigantic.
Never mind. I do know about that one. I had this comic as a kid. I completely forgot about this comic, where for some reason Ruben is colored teal instead of yellow. I forgot about that comic. I had that when I was like 6. Oh, I read that thing so much it disintegrated. I am not making that up. It started to fall apart from how much I would reread that thing.
Oh, and shrink enemies, that's cool too.
Stitch was a one-fluff army, and he proved it when everyone from the Galactic Federation to the dastardly Dr. Hamsterville came to pick a fight with him.
Including all of Jumba's experiments. Yeah, 626 isn't just some random number. There are hundreds of these little bastards running around. More trouble-making cousins to add to his growing ohana.
Though he had to pacify many of them first, like Slushy, who can create a snowstorm that covered all of Kauai.
Or Richter, who can split the Earth in half and shatter planet-busting asteroids.
And Jumba stated that Stitch was the most destructive, unstoppable...
Jumba has stated multiple times that Stitch is the strongest and greatest experiment. This not only includes Holio, but Experiment 607, which Jumba states could destroy the universe by collapsing it onto itself. That's in the Kim Possible crossover, where he thinks Rufus is 607. Holio is the one right before that, which is 606. Whenever Holio opens his mouth, it creates a black hole. Just so you're aware of what we're working with here. Little fun fact. Not a single episode of the series. I don't know what the anime did. I've never seen the anime. But none of the series had any episode dedicated to the 400s. Not a one. So for the most part, Lilo and Stitch experiments are not categorized randomly. Each series has a specific theme. The Zero series, 1 to 99, are all test batches. That's why they typically aren't really much of anything. It's like the first one is Shrink. It just shrinks things. Then there was Yapper, which is the 7th one, which just... It's just a dog that just does that the whole time just to annoy you. Or Forehead, who's just a barbershop quartet in one body and just is bad at singing, and that's it. Then you have the 100 series, which were, I believe, civil disturbances. Like 120 is Slick, and he is a con artist. Clip, I mentioned Clip a minute ago. That's 177. She cuts people's hair and then turns into the giant furball. Now 199 is interesting because 199 is the precursor to the 200 series, which are more like political espionage. Nosy is 199, and he's supposed to go and get secrets from rivals, but instead he just reveals everyone's dirty laundry everywhere. So it's fitting that he's the last of the 100 series because it's a very good segue into the 200 series, which is political espionage. Like 222, Poxy, who was made to get into bodies and just create a massive virus just within that one person, though. And it's meant for political leaders, but it can be used on anybody. The 300 series was psychological. So 300 is Spooky, who shapeshifts into your worst fear. 303 was Amnesio, who wipes your memory. 383 was Swirly, who hypnotizes you. Then there's the 400 series that gets nothing. No episode based on the 400s at all. Their theme, I believe, was supposed to be militant, which might have been why it wasn't utilized, because it's like, how do we really explain that to a kid? It's not like with Poxy, where it's like, yeah, it's for political espionage, but we can just explain it as, oh, he makes you sick. The 500 series is the one with the most, and it makes sense, because it's the Elemental series, and yeah, that makes sense. That is the easiest power to display, is elements. So Richter, 513, creates earthquakes. Deforestator, 515, tears down trees. 501 and 502 are yin and yang. Yin has water powers, yang has fire powers. Stuff like that. 523 is slushy, as described earlier. Now the 600 series is the most limited in number, having technically 30. Technically 30. Because yes, you have up to Stitch, who's 626, but then you have to consider that the series had an episode focusing on 627, who was supposed to be what if Stitch couldn't be made evil, but it was a failure. And then there was a teased 628 that we never got anything with. And then eventually Leroy and Stitch, we got Leroy, who is technically 629, who is a 627, was successful at what he was trying to do. So you have 30 in the 600 series. Personally, I think this is so that they didn't have to deal with the fact that there would be an experiment 666 at some point, but also, you know, because they had already introduced Stitch as 626, there was no point in having ones after, aside from the 3 that we ended up getting. They are the Doomsday playlist, the Doomsday series. Again, Holio, Black Holes, 607, which I believe is named Lodge, Universal Collapse, And then Stitch. Or if you want to go further, you have like Angel, who's able to manipulate the moral alignment of any experiment that came before her. With, I think, the exception of Ace, which is 262, the reverse of Stitch's number, who doesn't have an evil bone in his body. He is the one that Jumba messed up and made entirely good. So, I think Angel can't affect him. But Angel also can't affect anyone after. Then you have Reuben, who has all the same powers as Stitch, but is like, nah, I'm gonna make sandwiches, which, to be fair, I can relate to that. But, I went off on a tangent about that, but I could talk all day long about Lilo and Stitch, dude.
Monster the universe has ever seen. Even more dangerous than Polio, who can create a black hole large enough to consume the entire universe.
Speaking of black holes, in the anime, yes, there's a Lilo and Stitch anime. Stitch once piloted a ship carrying a supernova bomb strong enough to wipe out a galaxy and flew it into a black hole. It and the black hole.
Strongest of Jumba Jookiba's experiments helped to find a home for 624 other experiments. I mean, I guess Reuben found his own place without Stitch's help. It's just that eventually Gantu and Reuben became good and Leroy and Stitch, but they kind of stuck together. So I guess he did kind of... I guess he found his own place on his own. 1 million degree black belt, built a mech suit in 5 seconds, threw a giant laser into space, survived being inside 2 black holes. I was actually about to bring up the black hole in Leroy and Stitch. Saved the universe numerous times. Defeated Gantu, Hamsterville, Leroy, Delia, Dark End, and most of his cousins. I don't know who Delia and Dark End are. I'm not entirely sure there.
Oh, both exploded on top of him, and he popped out no worse for the wear. You know, like you do.
Another time, he piloted a ship to a different black hole in less than 2 minutes. It's unclear exactly how far this was, but the average distance between stars is about 5 light years.
That means his ship would have had to have been flying at over 1 million times the speed of light.
And when he's filled with love for his Ohana, the power cell inside Stitch surges incalculably. He used this to defeat Dark End, an experiment explicitly made to be stronger than Stitch, who had just defeated 4 Stitch clones on his own.
And Stitch completely annihilated him. He knocked Dark End into outer space so hard he dislodged a city-sized space station. You know, like you do.
He's even managed to worm his way into completely different Disney properties.
Oh god, we don't have another Deadpool on our hands, do we?
With Stitch around, Lilo, Nani, and the inhabitants of Earth couldn't be safer.
Surf's up for everyone's favorite blue fuzzball of death.
No, we're not doing the sponsor segment. Now I get to learn about a character that, as much as I love, I'm not as familiar with in terms of comic book lore.
This episode asset to utilize incredibly stars. It better help.
Somewhere in the Black Mountain Hills of Dakota, there was a young boy named Raccoon.
Raccoon. Rocket, not Rocky. That's the Beatles song he's named after.
Well, I have wasted a lot of time on some very specific research.
In fact, it's just Rocket. Despite his startling resemblance to the resourceful dumpster diving mammal, Rocket originates from the alien planet,
aka Ranger Raccoon, subject 88213, approximately 4 feet tall, weighs 100 pounds, member of the Guardians of the Galaxy, species half-world or mutate, not a raccoon. Likes Groot, stealing body parts, McDonald's. Not the only raccoon to steal an arm, as we found with Ruby. Dislikes Earth, Spider-Man, guitar, and porn. Those are very specific things, especially that last one. Has dated many alien girls who now want to kill him. This is making me love Rocket even more. What is the porn dislike? That one's throwing me off. That one's throwing me off the most. Like, I got a hair in my mouth. The porn is throwing me off the most. Oh my god.
and at Half-World, which served as an asylum for the criminally insane ruled over by alien humanoids.
Along with many of Half-World's cutesy inhabitants, Rocket was subjected to cybergenetic modifications by his overlords.
All with the purpose of being Half-World's warden, Ranger Rocket.
Rocket's mutations make him smarter, stronger, faster, and tougher than your average garbage goblin.
His cybernetic skeleton is connected to artificial vertebrae and neural implants, allowing him to dodge gunfire and laser beams, survive an explosion the size of a city block, and keep up with supervillains like Kraven and Venom.
Rocket's superhuman enhancements should put him beyond peak humans like Daredevil and Cyclops, who can both react within a nanosecond. Oh dear.
Survive an explosion the size of a city block, and keep up with supervillains like Kraven and Venom.
Alongside pals Lila the Otter and Walrus the... Yeah, Rocket battled the mercenary Blackjack O'Hare and killer clowns and saved the day time and time again. I bet you're wondering what the hell this has to do with Guardians of the Galaxy.
In a convoluted editorial effort to reboot his character, Rocket left Half-World to become a mercenary and had his memories suppressed. After a betrayal by his otter lover, a different one, he has a thing for otters, Rocket was sent to jail. Space jail.
And prison changes a man. Gunn was the Saturday morning cartoon character of yore. He was a felon, cynical and hardened by the criminal justice system. The space criminal justice system.
Rocket suffered not only from his penal servitude, but the trauma of his brutal genetic modifications, and a lingering sense of alienation. It was in this personal hell where he'd meet a bunch of a-holes who would soon be his new teammates. Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, and of course, his best pal Groot.
And together they were the Guardians of the Galaxy, defending the free peoples of the cosmos from all manner of alien menace. For a price, of course. Though unlike some of the powerhouses on his team, Rocket's raccoon body is...
I told you he's not a raccoon. He was created on Half-World and is the last of an entire race of raccoon-like aliens. He just happens to look like an Earth raccoon.
Don't lecture me on raccoons, Wiz. I'm an expert. Been fighting the bastards for years. Did you know their tiny little bandit masks are for reducing glare to enhance night vision? They can hear noises as quiet as earthworms digging underground. And about 2/3 of the sensory perception part of their cerebral cortex is devoted to their tactile impulses. That's why they grab shit with their tiny little hands.
All perfectly suited to a nimble stealth.
Wait, does he hate them or does he love them? I can't tell. He's like, oh yeah, I've been fighting the bastards for a while, but now he's gushing over how cute they are. I guess you should have a love-hate relationship with them. They are cute, but they are also menaces.
The glass cannon like Rocket.
Yeah, 'cause he's a raccoon.
As I was saying, Rocket
Enhanced physicality and senses. Enhanced intellect. Sharp teeth and claws. Tactics, demolitions, marksmanship, engineering and mechanics, hacking and programming, infiltration and theft, martial arts, acrobatics, medicine. Interesting.
became the team's resident grease monkey, specializing in all things technology and engineering. And fittingly, his specialty in combat is firearms.
Yep, that sounds like my cue, Wiz. Rockets built giant mechs, cobbled together random junk for an improvised flamethrower.
In Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, again, I haven't seen it, MCU Rocket's species and origin are handled differently than in the comics. Our analysis is focusing primarily on the original source material. Oh, okay. I guess I don't have much to worry about in way of spoilers, for the most part, I guess. There might be something that has... It said primarily, that means there might be some stuff from the movie.
And casually slapped together a bomb strong enough to destroy a moon. Oh, and he's got every kind of hand cannon imaginable. Pistols, machine guns, miniguns, rifles, rocket launchers, plasma guns, laser guns, and my favorite, the melon popper, where melon means head and pop means kabam.
That melon belonged to a Super Skrull, one of the deadliest warriors in the Marvel Universe. With the combined abilities of the Fantastic Four, including the Thing, who survived a blast from the power cosmic that could split a planet in two.
Yeah, Rocket's weapons are crazy, like the Rampart armed phase.
Oh dear. Pistols, shotguns, rifles, miniguns, laser and plasma guns, rocket and grenade launchers, Rampart arms phasic cannon, flamethrower, electricity guns, sonic guns, rack and ruin, jetpack, transforming motorcycle, Gundam suit, bombs, swords and knives, rocket-propelled hammer, energy barrier projector, Azalean acid capsules, timely incorporated shipment processing and analysis device. What? PIM particle canister, antimatter charges, orbital stash, Orbital weapon stash. Basically anything he can get his hands on.
Cannon, which utilizes cold fusion and could melt the face off the Mad Titan himself, Thanos.
The same Thanos who is strong enough to survive a supermassive black hole 4 light years across, and came out with only light scratches.
The very same Purple Shrek who's battled Universe Busters.
Though Thanos was weakened, he could still survive a blast from the Cosmic Cube and overpower Drax. Rock states Thanos' full strength is necessary to withstand the weapon, implying that anything less would be insufficient. Also, survived using 6 Infinity Stones at once? Actually, I don't know. Again, they're focusing on the comic stuff. I don't actually know if in the comics, if using an Infinity Stone kills you the way that it does in the MCU. I don't see why it wouldn't, but I'm not well versed in the comic realm in that regard.
And beyond, like Thor, Hulk, and Odin. If Thanos can walk through attacks from a dude who can shake the multiverse and Rocket's guns can hurt him, I'm gonna need one of those puppies under my pillow ASAP.
And similar weaponry to what Rockets use can operate down to the picosecond, which is 1/trillionth of a second.
He can access all of these goodies at any time from his orbital stash, a remote-controlled satellite that...
Even outside the phasic canon, Rocket has consistent access to weapons that can harm high-tier Marvel characters like Hulk, Drax, Groot, Maxilin the Accuser, Angela, and more.
He'll deliver anything he wants, lickety-split.
Rocket can zoom through the sky on his rocket.
Again. Blew up a moon, one-shot one of the progenitors, threatened to kill Thanos multiple times, regularly destroys Groot's body, blew off a Super Skrull's head, fought an entire planet's population, harmed Gardener, an Elder of the Universe, outsmarted Star Thief and Kraven the Hunter, defeated Black Jack O'Hare, Amalia, Maxilin, Dormammu? I beg your pardon?
Skates, project force fields, teleport with a portable AI, melt through solid metal with acid, and even hack foreign technology.
Anything from a prison to a planet to an entire galactic empire. Rocket's the most dangerous not raccoon who's totally a raccoon in the whole universe.
And he's proven it with the Guardians. He's saved Earth at least 11 times, cured Ego the Living Planet of a lice infestation, and held his own against an entire world trying to kill him all at once.
He even devised a plan that ultimately stopped Dormammu, the Lord of the friggin' Dark Dimension. No wonder Star-Lord called Rocket the greatest tactical mind he's ever met, even if sometimes he has a tendency to run in guns blazing.
Though he'd always be a wisecracking son of a bitch, his time with the Guardians softened his edges. He learned to enjoy life again, and even made it back to Half-World to send that bastard Blackjack O'Hare packing.
And even though he clearly is one, whatever you do, don't call him a raccoon, because there's nowhere in the galaxy to hide from this gun-toting mother flarker.
This episode of Death Beneath Self,
Nope.
we all
Save it for it phone.
through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle!
Dude just can't ever. That's what he gets for getting mint chocolate chip every time. Deserved.
You smashed my ship, Flark Face!
Also, I like that he has Lilo's necklace from Leroy and Stitch. I like that they included that. That's nice.
What did you say about my mother?
I like that he knows the Stitch language.
You disgust me.
is very, very, very inspired by the Fighting Guardians 2 that was done to the song Southern Nights. Where he takes out all of the Ravagers very easily. It's one of my favorite scenes in the MCU. Not just that movie, in the MCU overall, that's one of my favorite scenes. I love Guardians 2 so much. Oh.
That's it. Gonna need a bigger gun. Yes! Come to Papa. I guess you could call this my Thanos Buster. It's hunting season now, Buzzball. Huh? You gotta be kidding me.
Oh. Did he say? As in goodbye.
Mother.
Oh.
Double KO!
I guess I can't be surprised. Indestructible.
Oh, brutally murdering ice cream guy wasn't necessary, Wiz, but I felt it was an artful touch.
Though similar in many ways, Stitch and Rocket's fighting styles were polar opposites.
Stitch was more than strong enough to tear Rocket apart.
MCU Rocket survived a fourth of the Power Stone's energy, over 4 Yoda tons of TNT. 616 Rocket has never shown such durability, and it wouldn't be enough to withstand Stitch's attacks regardless.
Physically, while Rocket's guns were powerful enough to kill people even stronger than Stitch. So the question was simple. If both of them only needed one hit to win, who would get the killing blow first?
It all came down to speed. Rocket has dodged lasers and his guns...
Given the distance involved in the picosecond feat, Rocket's weaponry would have been in the ballpark of 2,666 times faster than light.
could operate down to the picosecond, 1/trillionth of a second.
But Stitch's supercomputer brain could operate down to the quintillionth of a second, 1,000,000 times faster, at minimum.
And his ability to pilot that ship...
Stitch, stronger, faster, more durable, has experience adapting to foes. No exploitable weaknesses, likely smarter. Can't withstand Rocket's weaponry. Greater firepower, larger and more versatile arsenal. Physically outmatched, more reliant on equipment, more reckless.
But over 1,000,000 times the speed of light meant that he more than had the reaction speed to dodge anything Rocket threw at him.
Rocket's tactical brilliance meant he could keep Stitch at bay with tricks for a while, but he couldn't reliably seal the deal. Despite being a little blue goblin, Stitch usually stays level-headed in a fight, whereas Rocket can be way more impulsive.
And frankly, Stitch is probably even smarter considering he has the combined IQ of an entire galaxy.
One slip up from Rocket is all Stitch would need to end the fight.
Well, okay. There's an asterisk on that. Although Stitch's intelligence is based on Jumbo, we know that it's actually not as much. Once again, referring back to the Spike episode. Remember what I said. Jumbo, even with being spiked, is still capable of acting normal because of just how much brain power he has. Stitch, on the other hand, was impacted by Spike. Technically, they both were impacted, but we're able to see it more clearly with how Stitch acted, which is why he was incapacitated for most of that episode. So, I feel like that is putting a bit too much for Stitch, because even if it's based on Jumbo, there's evidence that he doesn't have as much as Jumbo. But he's probably still more than Rocket.
Rocket's arsenal was absolutely bonkers, to be sure, but Stitch's superior speed, physical strength, and unbelievable intelligence gave him the win.
Looks like this rocket's blasting off again!
The winner is... What's going on? What's going on?
Oh, there's a turkey here, too! Where's he gonna leave the turkey behind?
The winner is Stitch.
Thanks for watching.
that's
Stay
fun.
tuned. We have a new death battle releasing every 2 weeks this year. And click the join button to get new perks and extra content. Planet level members even see death battles before anyone else, so don't miss out.
Okay, that's probably one I'm gonna sit out. I don't know who that second one is. Obito? Is that how you say that? I don't know who that is. And I don't really care about Star Wars either, so I'm just gonna sit that one out. I think I'll see what the one after that is and see if I want to react to it. But I'm really not surprised that Stitch won. I'm not. Not at all surprised. And not upset. Wouldn't have been well, I guess it, again, depends on how they would have done it if Rocket would have won. Wouldn't have really been that upset if Rocket won either. So, all's good. All's good. Still debating on if I want to do a review of Ben versus Hal. I still haven't decided if I'm going to do that. I don't know if I want to put myself through that. Every time I watch Ben versus Hal, I feel my brain cells just dying off constantly every time that I've had to see that one. Anyway, still working on getting the Patreon set up, but once I do get the Patreon set up and everything figured out there, I'm gonna start doing series reactions with the full uncut versions over on Patreon that are going to be released a week earlier than what they'll be released here on YouTube. The series that I know that I'm going to start with are Generator X, Hunter x Hunter, Owl House, and Good Omens. I don't know if I'm going to do it in that order, but those are the ones that I have on the lineup to start doing reactions to whenever the Patreon gets all figured out. So, until then, all that nice YouTube algorithm stuff. Like, comment, and subscribe. Social media is in the description below, especially with the Discord server if you want to have a more direct way of contacting me. And until next time, I will see you when I see you.